We here at Shush acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup tribe. The Puyallup people have lived on and stewarded these lands since the beginning of time and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step toward true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the indigenous people of this land and beyond.
Welcome to Puyallup Public Library's new podcast, Shush with Debi, where we interview and connect with people of the library, city, Puyallup businesses, and the community. I am Debi. I work here at the library as outreach technician, where I mostly do outreach, but I really do a little bit of everything. I'm so excited to introduce our guest, the fabulous police officer for Puyallup, Sergeant David Beerbower. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Debbie. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. We'll start right off with our first two questions that all guests have. With number one, tell our listeners who you are and a little about yourself.
So as you said, my name is David Beerbower. I grew up here in Washington. Beautiful state. Absolutely love it. I went off to the Marine Corps and spent 5 years in the Marine Corps. So I was away from the state for a little bit. And after I came back, I was hired by the City of Kent as a police officer. Mm-hmm. I've been doing it for about 15 years now. I was with Kent for approximately 6 to 6.5 years.
Gotcha.
And then I found out the Puyallup Police Department was hiring. For family reasons and just for the community, I decided to apply for Puyallup, and luckily I was hired.
Lucky for us.
So I've been here since 2014, and I'm coming up on my 9-year mark with the city. It's really exciting.
It is. What a great career. Number two, tell me about your connection to Puyallup and the library.
So obviously as a police officer,
yes,
right, I do a lot of foot patrols. I'll come downtown. I'll walk through the library. I like being able to reach out to the community. Right, part of our job as police officers is we talk to people. Right?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they're doing. We go out and we say hi. We have that good interaction with the community and actually create partnerships with them. Right.
Exactly.
Because if we don't have those partnerships, as a police department, we're not going to be successful in our community. And unfortunately, all that we'll be seeing is interactions that are just the holding people accountable interactions, and not the face-to-face, hey, how's your day going? Exactly.
I love that. I love thinking about those other connections. It's so important.
Mm-hmm. And as far as connection to the library and the city, I don't live directly in the city, but I'll often bring my family and my children down to the spray park. Like, we enjoy the parks of the city.
Yes.
They come to the library. They check books out of the library. I mean, my kids are like kids in candy shops when they come to the library because they get to play around.
Yep.
And my 10-year-old, she'll come in here and she'll come over with a stack of like 6, 7, 8 books, and it's like, I want these.
I love it.
So it's an exciting opportunity for them to be able to come and enjoy the community as well.
Exactly, and be a part of it.
Correct.
We have such a great downtown area here with the park and the library and the spray park in the summer. It just couldn't be better. Let's move on to your very special chosen questions. And for your first question you chose, can you tell me about the important people in your life?
Oh, absolutely. So the most important people in my life are my direct family.
I love it.
Having been in the Marine Corps, right,
Yeah.
I understand the importance that family truly holds, because there are times when you're in the military that you're separated from your family.
Oh, yes.
And so obviously my beautiful wife, Sari, like she's number one in my life when it comes to that. And then I have 4 wonderful children. I have an 18-year-old from a prior marriage. She just graduated from high school this year.
Congratulations to her.
Super, super exciting.
Yes.
I have a 10-year-old daughter, a 8-year-old son, and a 3-year-old daughter who is absolutely fabulous, but she is chaos.
Glad you have the energy.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds lovely. It sounds like a lovely family, and I've met your family, actually, so I know they are. Number 2, what have been some of the happiest moments in your life?
There are so many to choose from. I've led a combination of a challenging and a blessed life. But some of the happier moments of my life include simple things like graduating from boot camp.
Oh,
right?
no kidding.
So that success, being able to
Yes.
say, I went through Marine Corps boot camp and I graduated from it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Children.
Yes.
The birth of my
Yes.
children. And
Yes.
I'm getting chills just thinking
Yeah,
about
me
it.
too.
Right?
I can tell your voice.
The smile and the joy that they bring to you.
Yes.
And they become the number one thing in your life,
Yep.
right? You have
Yep.
to lose all selfishness when you have children.
Exactly.
And life becomes about them.
It is, truly.
And, the marriage to my beautiful wife.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there's not a day that goes by when I don't think about her and smile or see her and
Aw.
smile. I mean, sometimes we're like ships in the wind,
Yeah.
right? Like
With
I'm
all the
waking
kids
up,
and
I'm
your
running off.
jobs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the moments in my life that just truly bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna pull a little bit of work into that.
Of course.
Being able to find times to where you can bring justice to victims.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
People who have been truly victimized, and the opportunity to be able to help them out and to be able to give them some comfort,
Yes.
right, in moments of crisis.
Yes.
Some of the best parts of the job is being able to help somebody out
Mm-hmm.
when they're truly in need.
Mm-hmm.
And then the addition of being able to go out into the community
Mm-hmm.
and just see smiles on kids' faces when you're
Yes.
handing out stickers.
Yes. And connecting with them that way, too.
Absolutely.
Do you think of yourself as a servant at all?
I think that is the number one thing about policing.
Yes.
My own personal personality is I wasn't put on this earth to make myself better,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That's not what I'm here for.
Mhm.
I'm here to try to provide to other people to help them
Exactly.
be better, to help them succeed in the things that they do. I'll talk a little bit about my role as a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Servant leadership is huge,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It is.
And
The library, at the library, too.
what people don't understand is servant leadership is not necessarily about you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh,
It's about everyone else.
exactly.
right? And no matter what you do as a leader,
Mhm.
it should be to make it to where your people, the people that you're there to protect as the umbrella for, to
Mhm.
guide, to mentor, and to lead,
Mm-hmm.
that they have all the tools to be successful in everything that they do. Right?
Exactly.
And to achieve their dreams.
Yes.
So if you have an officer that wants to become a detective, you help guide and mentor him in that direction. You give them all the tools necessary to be able to get over that direction.
Right.
So I think not only on the professional level, but on the personal level, I think of myself that way. Because for my kids, my son,
Mm-hmm.
much like me, right?
Mhm.
He's stubborn. He does all of the things that I would have done as a kid.
I love it.
And I see it, and he will often ask me why I tell him not to do certain things,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm trying to prevent him from making the
Yes.
same mistakes I made.
Yes. I can relate.
And he will get all frustrated, and I'll go, Ari, what you don't understand is I want you to be a better man than I am.
Oh.
When you grow up,
Oh.
I want you to be better positioned and more knowledgeable than I was.
Yep.
And I want you to succeed, which
Yes.
is every parent's dream, right?
It is.
They want their kids to succeed.
Exactly.
And I think as a leader, we are in that same exact role, right? We want our people to succeed, because if they succeed, then the community is safe. Then
Exactly.
the community is happy.
Yes.
Then you likely have a great partnership with the community, whether it be
Yes.
the inner workings of the city,
Yes.
the library, the police department,
Right.
public works, streets, or good relations with the citizens of the community, right? When you walk downtown and people wave at you and say, thank you for your service. We don't get into this profession for thanks.
Right.
But Puyallup is that fabulous community that when I first came here, I sat down for lunch, and I had somebody walk up to me and just shook my hand, said,
Oh.
thank you for what you do.
That's wonderful. That is so wonderful. And all your words are really words of wisdom. I'm going to go on to number 3. If you didn't have your current career, what occupation would you like to try?
Oh, man, that's hard. So while I was in the Marine Corps, I was a computer tech from the Marine Corps.
Oh.
I did not have a glamorous going off to war profession.
Right.
I was working on computers, and it was everything from hardware to software to networks to system security to setting up large area networks. It was a very broad, diverse portion of the IT field.
Gotcha.
And I would say that if I wasn't currently doing what I was doing, I would either do that, just because of base knowledge, right?
Yes.
I like troubleshooting things,
yes.
right? And
gotcha.
That's part of the police
There's a
profession,
lot of that.
right? And there's a lot of that in the IT field. The other thing, honestly, I would probably, just because of retirement's sake, because in Washington, we work off the left system, I'd probably try to be a firefighter.
Oh my gosh, that's cool too.
And again, right? It's I've always been drawn to give back somehow.
Yes.
So, and firefighters give back, right?
Oh, they do.
We have constant jokes amongst each other, right?
I bet.
Firefighters are America's heroes, right?
Yes.
Everybody loves firefighters.
Oh yes.
But they have such a vital and important role in our success, right?
Yes.
In our community's success, right? They
Exactly.
are alongside police officers. And I had a good relationship with firefighters in Kent. The relationship with the firefighters here in Puyallup that I've had has been phenomenal as well, because
Good.
We'll get dispatched to a scene, and oftentimes the officers will get there before the firefighters do, and we may do CPR on somebody for a couple of minutes before the firefighters are able to get there.
Wow.
Which, in turn, the partnership helps save somebody's life.
Exactly. You have to work together. My brother-in-law is a firefighter, and so I've heard a lot of stories over the years. And yeah, my respect for all firefighters and police went up so much getting to know the things that he faces, and I'm sure with you too.
Well, and sometimes it just takes simple conversation.
Yes.
There is a level of I don't want to use the term ignorance, because
Right.
everybody
People don't know.
Everybody looks at ignorance as a negative thing. It's not necessarily
Right.
a negative thing. It's more you just don't know. You don't understand.
Haven't been exposed to it, or
My mom and my wife have both used the phrase, "You don't know what you don't know." Right?
true.
And one of my things with people who are new hires is ask the question, right?
Yes.
Ask the question.
Don't
if you have
be
a question,
afraid.
ask it, because
Yes,
if
I
you
agree.
don't know,
Yeah.
then there may be 3 or 4 other people or more who
Who
don't know
either.
So ask the question.
I agree. Don't be afraid to ask anything. And that reminds me too of some CPR training I had once with a firefighter, and he said, "Don't be afraid to call us. We're here
Right.
for you." And
Right.
it changed how I felt for the rest of my life. In fact, even in my personal, at home, there have been a couple times where I needed to call, and I didn't feel nervous or like, "Don't
Right.
do that. You're here for us."
So that is a very similar conversation that I often have with members of the community.
Yeah.
Right? Because
yep.
somebody will flag me down and they'll be like, "Oh,
I'm
6
so
months ago I had this happen."
Oh, no.
And I go, "Why didn't you call?"
Yes.
And the most common response that I get is, "I didn't call because I didn't want to bother you guys. I know you have more important things to do." And as much as I can say I understand how they view it that way, it goes back to my initial statement.
Yeah.
We talk to people for a living.
Yes. Yeah, true.
If it's a non-emergency, South Sound 911 has a non-emergency number that you
Right.
can call. And we may not get to your call right away. Your
Yeah.
call may pend, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the seriousness of crime and the calls that we're responding to, it may pend for a while.
Right.
But we will get to it, and
Yes.
we will have that conversation with you. That's what we do.
Yes.
For us, it comes down to just slowing down, taking time to have the conversation, a little common human decency, a little compassion.
Yes, I agree with all of that. So ask the questions.
Ask the questions.
I love it. Alrighty, we're going to move on to number 4, which is, where did you grow up?
Oh, man. So I went to high school in Elma, Washington.
Oh, Elma.
There are a lot of people who have absolutely no idea where Elma
I know where that is.
because it's just a little blip on the map between Olympia and Ocean Shores.
Yeah.
I actually grew up about 10 minutes outside of Elma.
Okay.
My parents were given a property that it was about 5 acres by my grandparents.
Wow.
Which was absolutely phenomenal to grow up on.
Oh,
right?
no kidding.
I grew up in the time period when parents would look at their kids and they would say, "Be home by dark."
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep, familiar with that.
Some other kids, for them, it was be home before the street lights come on, right?
Yes, I've
For
heard
us,
that too.
it was be home before dark. As long as you were home before dark, it was great. And I had the property to be able to play on.
Oh,
we
that's
could go out into the
amazing.
woods and play. It was great.
Wow.
My parents didn't have the money, really. I mean, if you look at the poverty line during that time, we definitely lived below the poverty line. But it wasn't a bad life. We had a garden. We had all of those things to be able to help sustain ourselves.
Right.
And we did the work. We put the work into our own property to be able to make it a successful life for us.
Oh, that's wonderful. It sounds great.
It was.
That's so cool. Alrighty, number 5. What is the most important lesson you've learned over your career?
Oh, man. So this is a big one. And I think a lot of people, both younger and older, struggle with this. And I still struggle to grasp onto this. I had someone who I would consider a friend and a mentor several years ago when I worked in Kent come to me after I got really, really frustrated over a case being dropped. And I thought I had done a phenomenal job on this case.
Yes.
I'd put a ton of work into it.
Right.
And she looked at me and she goes, "David, I want you to pause for a second. Are you willing to let me give you some advice?"
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of always learning, always trying to.
Oh, me too.
I'm not the smartest person in the book. I'm not the fastest, the strongest, right? There's always someone bigger, smarter, stronger, faster, right?
There's always something to learn.
Yes. So you should always try to continue your education
Exactly.
in some way.
I agree.
So she came to me and I was like, "Tell me what you have."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What is
help me.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Imagine life like 3 spheres."
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
okay.
into those spheres, you have your sphere of control.
Yes.
And you have your sphere of influence. Think of this kind of like a Venn diagram.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
I already was. Yeah.
So your sphere of control and your sphere of influence overlap. Really, the only thing that you can control in life is yourself.
Exactly.
Right? You can't control anything else.
Nope.
You really can't. You can control your actions, your behavior,
Yes.
the things that come out of your mouth. Your sphere of influence, there are a lot of things in life you can influence, but you can only influence them to a certain extent.
Exactly.
Once you have reached your end rope on that, everything falls into this other circle. And this other circle isn't part of your Venn diagram. It's over off to the left.
Yes.
You have to think of that other circle as superfluous.
Ah.
You have to think of it like a balloon and just let it go.
But see, I'm already
Right.
arguing.
But. And it's hard, right?
It's hard.
That is
especially when you've worked on it and you know
Yes.
what's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that can be applied to so many aspects of life.
Yeah.
Okay?
Probably everything.
Whether you're someone who is religious or whether you're someone who is not, whether it's in your personal life, and it has to do with the kid, right? We talk about raising
yes.
our children to be the best that they can be.
Yes.
And sometimes, no matter what we do, that
Yes.
does not work out.
Yeah.
And it's hard as a parent to let go of things. But you can only influence it so much. You can only control so much.
So true.
And then you have to let go.
So true.
And if they reach out to you for help, for
Yes.
love, support them.
100%.
But you got to let it go.
And that for them is learning, making those mistakes and trying new things, whatever.
Right. And sometimes we have to learn by our own mistakes.
Exactly.
And I was lucky. My siblings made their own mistakes, and I'm the youngest of 3.
Ah, gotcha. I'm the oldest of 3.
So my brother and sister, I watched the mistakes that were made.
Yes.
And there were some of the things that were done that I looked and I saw the outcome of it.
Yep.
And I said, I don't want that to happen to me.
I hear ya.
So I'm not going to
I know
do
my
that.
sisters would say that.
And then you put on top of that the fact that I always wanted to be a police officer. I mean,
Yes.
you would ask me when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, I would have said police officer.
Aw.
I think there was like a month when I was 8 when I was like, I want to be a doctor. And I was
For a
like, no,
month.
I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a police officer. And that continued all the way through to the point where I got hired as a police officer.
So meant to be. You're so fortunate to know that.
Right. And
Yeah.
there are many people who struggle with that.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Oh, that was wonderful. And you still, it sounds like you still respect what she told you and you took it to heart and you still think of it that way, and it applies to everything.
I do.
Yeah.
And the great thing is I'm so happy for her because she's retired at this point.
Oh, nice.
It's truly words of wisdom.
Yes, exactly.
And oftentimes I will find myself getting frustrated about something, and I will think about that.
Think
and
about
I'll
that.
have to pause
It's
and
your
I'll have to
tool.
pull back and say, you know what? I influenced this
Yeah.
in every way that I could.
Yes. That's
I
so
can
good.
control myself from getting upset about it.
Yes.
I can control how this affects me.
Yes.
And the outcome of it doesn't matter.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things,
Right.
it really doesn't.
Yeah.
I just have to continue pushing on and ensuring that I'm doing the right thing.
So it's really it's fantastic. It's really words of wisdom. And I think listening, that was one of the things my mom always taught us girls, was about listening and to be a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
It's a skill. It's a huge skill.
It's one of the keys to leadership as well.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
The ability to just pause and listen.
Yep.
Because if you go into a situation and you automatically, I don't want to say fly off the handle, but you automatically start making those assumptions, making those judgments, you may not know whatever the underlying cause of the situation is.
Exactly.
And sometimes it takes sitting down, pausing, and listening.
And listening. And I notice with police work, the police officers, you always are calm. I always notice that you're listening and calm. You don't talk fast, and you don't, start, saying a lot of things right away. You listen to everything carefully before you start to speak.
It's because words matter.
Yes.
What you may not catch if you're not pausing and listening could be a key indicator that someone is potentially suffering from trauma, or it could be a key indicator that somebody is considering assaulting you. It could be a key indicator that somebody just needs someone to listen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if you don't slow down, if you don't stay calm, then you're going to miss those opportunities to effectively